Welcome to the June 2024 edition of Easy Talks. I am the E in Easy, Erika Brown, and this is my SS.
Zendalannette of Easy.
Hey, and we are here, reunited, and it feels so good. And I'm super duper excited because my SS is back in Michigan and I can feel her energy. I'm so excited to see her in real life. But we touched base earlier today and we were, dialoguing about the theme for this month's Easy Talk. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, it is the end of June, so we are officially wrapping up the first half of the year. So I feel like that's a really big deal because I'm like, these 6 months have gone by like that. Like so much has happened. And so I really just want to take this opportunity to for both of us SS to just first reflect on the last 6 months, lesson learned, projects we're working on, aha moments, the distribution of golden nuggets, just what have we taken away from these last 6 months. And then after we touch base on that, I just would love us to talk about where we're going or where we see or what's going on for the second half of 2024. So I will let you begin and just share what's been going on with you these last 6 months. What's your reflection?
Wow. What if I was like, go to my blog no, I'm just kidding.
That part, I mean, I feel like that's a both and. Please share, what is it? All Things Dinky Rose, please.
All Things Dinky Rose with a Z. And I'll tell you, like this first 6 months they have literally flown by, like seriously. And I think the difference of this year, and not really the difference since I've been on this journey, just with the intentionality behind each day, setting the intention for each day, being grateful for each day, and then making a moment each day to celebrate the small wins as you traverse towards that big end of year goal, which is really a big, for me, which is really a component of the overall life purpose, life goals, right? And so in this 6 months, my greatest takeaway has just been the evolution of true introspection and solitude, like solitude in its truest sense, not from being lonely, but solitude from the stance of really getting to know thyself and love myself in the ways that I've never loved myself before because I didn't know how. And then in those lessons, just being so mindful. And when I tell you the greatest takeaway, and if nobody hears anything else from this Easy Talks this month, human design, sis, has really been pivotal in the process because having that blueprint instead of sitting in a state of frustration, when I first become frustrated, I go right to, okay, what's causing this frustration? Like a hard pause to really lean into it and not to get sucked up into the domestication of others. Because of the frustration that I'm experiencing, because I know it all starts with me. Whether I started it or not, I put myself or allowed myself to be in a space or in a situation, conversation, what have you, that was out of alignment. So really looking into those, you can say trigger awarenesses, but they're not. With my evolution, it doesn't quite get to the trigger point because for me, the trigger is like where I'm responding and it's not with an authority at all, and I'm just not even caring about the words. It's a trigger awareness, but an ignition, like that little spark. So before it even gets to a point where I could even be fully triggered. Hopefully that makes sense. But those have been my greatest lessons, like really getting into the getting into the foundational aspect of whatever is happening in life, in situations, what have you. So that's been like some of my greatest takeaways for this 6 months. And it's funny because I was at a tea party this weekend with some high school classmates, and one of them asked me, Kathy, she said, well, do you do a vision board? I said, every single year I do. And I said, because it just helps me to stay on track. It gives me that visual. And it was a more intimate conversation than that, because it was just as you life and traverse and evolve and you share space and you create a safe space, because like holding space is kind of like innate for me. If I'm going to show up in a space, the people that I'm there with and that I'm going to have the energetic exchange, they're people that I can generally and authentically connect. I can authentically connect energetically from either mutual connections or just, our past connections. But like, it's like an innate holding space at a party. You know what? And then, you're talking about the human design, not actually, and human design. I did bring that up too, because that is really that's what keeps me um, traversing along the path and not going on to the outskirts. So, um, that's it in a nutshell. That's it in a nutshell. And
I really,
with it, say it, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
With it being the 30th, so, wrapping up the end of the first 6 months and then just the end of a month, tomorrow I sit in my human design again to be able to look at it compared to me, my joy, tracking what I'm doing, what I've accomplished, assessing where I need to make tweaks for the rest of the year so that I can begin the next second half, excuse me, of the year, with the same intentionality and boldness that I have thus far. Because it's been some really interesting learnings about myself. So I want to keep this. I'm going to keep the momentum and prepare for this next month. Tomorrow, that first, I'll weigh myself. I review my human design and see what other practices I need to incorporate for this next month. Because it's just for today, so I'm not going to say the rest of the last 6 months of the year and put it all in but literally this next month and each day of the month, each week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been quite transformative. It really has been. And then just the traveling alone, since I was as I made it back to KZoo this morning, I I sat in the gratitude of, for the majority of the 6 months of the for the 6 months of this year, the majority of the time I've been able to occupy the space's daughter, which has been in another state, which is I've traveled and been able to fulfill personal commitments with my business, personally with Easy Talks, and still plant seeds, right? So it's spending quality time with people that are near and dear to me, um, as this new version of me, this evolved version of me, this healed version of healed and healing, evolved and evolving version of me. So yeah, it's been a game changer. What about you? What about you?
Well, I just wanted to, while you were sharing, when you first started sharing, and you're like, yeah, I've been doing the introspective work and all of that. And I'm like, I raised my hand and everything because I'm like, please tell us more. And organically you did. And I'm so grateful because I feel like I saw a friend of ours a couple weeks ago. She made a post talking about how hard it is when you're on that journey of the journey of like when you first hear the call and the call for the life inside that has gone unlived and you're ready to live it, and how difficult it can be navigating in the earlier stages of unbecoming while becoming, or like you like to say, SS, evolving, ever evolving. And I feel like these first 6 months of 2024 have really been almost like a solidifying of the work that I have put in and seeing truly the fruits of my labor. Like, I think about the life that I live today, and this literally is the life that I once upon a time prayed for. And I think about you talk about vision boards, SS, and my whole dining room here is filled with vision boards. And when I look like literally around my dining room slash my space, I see the words. I'm living the words. And so even when I look across here at my vision board for 2024, I think what I've really seen is like, I've seen me. Like, I've really, really, really been able to understand the unfolding of my life in such a beautiful way. And I'm seeing like the part that I played, and I'm seeing the depth of my conditioning these last 6 months. And I'm like, to live the life that I have prayed for, in spite of living through my conditioning, living through my domestication, still to this day. And I think about the level of work that I have done, and it's the moments when it's the moments when I was doing and doing and doing and practicing and practicing and practicing and seeing nothing and getting so frustrated because I'm like, I'm doing all of this. I'm working so hard to create this new life and I'm not getting the results I'm getting. And I'm seeing that, like, I'm really, really seeing like from this, it's like a twofold view of both the experiencer and witnessing the experiencer when it comes to what I was in fact doing to myself. And you and I, when we were talking earlier, I'm like, I see in these last 6 months really like my helicopter approach I've been doing to my evolution. And it's like I'm hovering over this transformation, like still in so much control while trying to surrender all of the control and seeing like how good Doug's is in spite of what I'm doing. And again, like while witnessing how beautiful life is around me, SS, like just like I have it all. Like, and I have it all. I can see that I have it all while also witnessing the imperfection of it all and finding that level of like acceptance of what is, and also really witnessing this fight that I have so often with what is and how I fight reality. And I'm understanding that the reason why I fight reality is because there's a piece of me that has always known that what I see is not what really is. And so I'm like, I'm understanding, like, I think I told my mom, like, the first probably 70-ish%, not even 70, I'm gonna say 60. The first 60% of my life was me trying to fix things that were wrong with me. And this last 40% of my life has been fixing the things that I broke, trying to fix the things that were never broken with me. And these last 6 months have shown me like I was fine. I was good. What the problem was all of the pretending that I've done all of these years trying to be okay in a world that's never been okay. And so I made myself wrong instead of seeing that I it was my placement in a broken reality. And so I'm like, these last 6 months have been so enlightening, SS, and like so like just that's what I'm saying. Like that solidification. I don't know if that's a word, but it is right now. Um, of like, baby girl, it's all good. You all good. Like, and so
Yeah.
I'm like, and learning to live by design. And so um because often I mean I now just go and then you can finish SS, but I so like these next 6 months, um, I'm like, there's magic here. And I want to take the first three of the next six to really, 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 instead of going inward in response to crisis, I want to go inward in response to the call and the desire to explore me when it's not because I'm forced to see me. And I'm like, I really want to wholly and fully show up in life in a way that I never had before. And there's a part of me that really believes that I can see and sense and be with and share space with life and the unfolding of events in a way that I never had before. So I'm taking these next 3 months, July, August, and September, to go on this intentional journey inward by design. And so, like, what my intention is because I see my design, I see my profile, the 1-3, and I see my type as a generator, and I'm really beginning to build relationship with my authority, the emotional, in a way that I never have in the last 7.5 years of knowing human design. And so I'm like, if I can detach from the world in a way that is so sacred while like still being part of but not being consumed by in these 3 months, so I can really just like reclaim home inward and externally by like loving my home and like deep cleaning and like just getting in the cracks and crevices and like releasing, surrendering, letting go of what no longer serves me, my home, and my physical body, and my shelter that protects my physical body and my babies. And then build, like, see these different relationships with my babies and see navigating this relationship really from this new way that I'm seeing relationship, and stepping into my role as a queen with my husband, because I've never fully operated from that space. When you think about chess and the role that a queen has on a chessboard, what if I could mirror that in life with my husband and show up that way with my husband as queen and king of our world? And then lastly, with my business. So me, my home, my kids, my husband, my family, all of that, and just really get in there and let go. Like, I want to surrender, SS. I want to really truly just, I want to live life in a way that I never have. And I feel like I'm on the verge of something so special. So what do you see taking these last 6 months, and when it comes to implementation for second half of 2024? And I heard you when you said like you're not you're you're honoring the just for today, you're honoring the presence, but what, and please share, because the audacity to be and the audacious lifestyle is coming soon. So can you just share a little bit about how all of that's coming into the second half for you?
Um, Everything that you said is what I've been doing for the first 6 months. You articulated it nicely. And it's indicative of what this first 6 months have been for me. Um, and it's almost been a little bit longer than 6 months, but 6 months more so from the stance of full implementation of living by human design. And when you talk about, showing up for the different spaces, as my mantra says, be the first to put you first in all ways, focusing solely on me has allowed me to show up in those other relationships fully. And it's just like it's that ripple effect. It truly is. And I commend you. I mean, because just from the age difference, right? Sheer age difference. I'm 50, you're 36. And to have that acknowledgement at your space in life while you're raising your children, it just brings me such joy to know what that is going to be like. Because yes, because essentially what you're doing is healing that dark mother archetype, right? And but you're first doing it by focusing on yourself. You're going into those practices. You're being intentional about releasing stuff. Because one of the first things I did before I really knew that hermit level and understood my true introvertness, and the need for it, I let things go. I literally went in and I talk about it in my book. Like I started to release like philanthropics, any type of extracurricular, anything, because I was doing all of the things that took me away. It allowed me to letting it go it made me still. It was a forced stillness to go inward. And then just having the tool and my guru, my teacher, you get your human design, y'all, with Erika Brown. Um, it's one of those things that the results, I won't pontificate, but I'll just say said the intentions that you set is going to be a game changer for you and for your entire family. I will also say this: what I have learned by doing that is when you spoke earlier about, the domestication of others and how that impacts your life. What is done for me was to help me see how much I settled in relationships
Mm-hmm.
and how it looks like navigating that terrain because you get to a space, or I've grown to a space, evolved to a space where I'm not going to settle.
Mm-hmm.
I have this value. I am this divinely created, uniquely created human that needs to be loved certain ways, that needs to be not um, ego stroked in any way, but just that authentic, unconditional love. And I speak in my book, The Audacity to Be, about how I used to love conditionally those closest to me. And it wasn't a space of malice, but it was that domestication piece of like, well, if you love me, then you should
Mm-hmm.
not do this or should do this. And really, when with us all having a human experience, navigating in most cases from the mindset and processes and thought processes of others instead of our own, because we don't really even know ourselves. We don't even really know what we like because we've been domesticated in what to like and directed in what to like. And I don't know if maybe it was Pastor Moore last week's sermon when he talked about, we'll say we don't like something, but when somebody says, hey, try it, just try. Oh, I don't eat that. Well, just have you ever tried it? Well, no, I don't like it because my mama said she didn't like it and my grandma said she didn't like it. But once you get a taste of it, and that's like getting a taste of who you are divinely created to be through the
Mm-hmm.
solitude, it shows you how to show up. And as you show up for you, God is showing up because you're getting closer to that, what he's calling you to be at any moment, which is ultimately getting you in line for that ultimate purpose, whatever that is, as you traverse. So it's it's something. And setting that, one of the things we talked about earlier is like, you're going to let people know, like, this is what I'm doing, and not like the world per se, but those closest to you. Like you said, hey sis, this is what I'm doing for the next 3 months. Let's schedule out time so that we can connect professionally and personally. Those are setting the intentions for a life of balance. Because often when you talk about, or I'll just speak from my experiences, I just showed up when friends needed me. I showed up and they called, I answered the phone. But the reality is, we can't, I found that to always be available and accessible does nothing but drain your natural energy source. And especially when your purpose for greatness, it requires those moments and those periods of being away, of letting things go, so that you can be at one with yourself, so that you can commune, and so that you know how to navigate. And it's that, it's the communication, it's the self-care by setting the standard of, this is what's going on, so don't be upset if I don't answer your call, if I'm 20 minutes late or 20 days late responding to your text message, because we're in a world that everything is supposed to be like right now. And so yeah, 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 yeah. And it's funny because I'm back home for the first time in almost 2 months. And of the 6 months, again, I've been away almost 5 of them. Um, but like that regrounding, and and it's not a new place, but it's a new place for who I am now, because I'm not the same that I was when I left. And learning that regrounding, and r- not reteaching, but being intentional about letting those close to me, like my spouse and my children, like, know how I communicate, when I'll communicate, and that I may be quiet. I may need time alone, even though we're together. So yeah, it's a lot to all of it. And in order to truly get into that deep, deep introspection, it's nothing like the power of solitude. It really, really is powerful and often misunderstood. And the beauty of it is that you don't know an explanation to anybody. Nobody. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a gift. And I think that's one of the things, like, I'm like, if my human design can show up like this, if Doug's can show up like this, and Doug's and I feel like, we've had, we've been in a relationship with one another for 30 years now, because I'm 36 and I was introduced to God when I was 5, 6 years old, with my when my stepmom came into my life. And I think about, the introduction of God to me as like this, just that, I think we've talked about it before, like, just like the judgmental, and the always watching everything you do and picking out every single flaw you have, and just like the critical, and the like, when bad things happen to you, it's because you did something bad. And
Mhm.
again, like, as a little person who was experiencing so much bad at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm just like, bro, what am I doing wrong? And having that relationship for all these years, and I just think about the amount of pressure I put on myself, like how intense my prayers were as a little girl, trying to rake my brain of everything I did and make sure that I said sorry, so I wouldn't,
Mhm.
have some another bad negative thing happen. And that's the beauty too of human design being a 1-3. That's my life. My life
Mhm.
is navigating hard experience. I'm an emotional authority. And part of that is getting to feel the full spectrum of feelings. So that's the lowest of lows and the
Mhm.
highest of highs. And when the only explanation you have is this God that was taught to me, I'm like, what in the actual F is this? And so over these last, like I said, 30 years, going from that to this relationship where I'm like, I know that I know that I know that I have never been forsaken. Never.
Mhm.
That they
Mhm.
heard every single prayer. There is not one tear that fell down my face. And somebody like me, I didn't have that access. So my tears would just well up right here in my eyes and never
Mm,
fall. And even those tears, each and every single one of them held purpose, SS. And like
mhm,
I I was never going through anything by myself. And so
mhm,
today, like I said, to know the things that I know because of what I've been through. And I'm like, what is possible with intention?
mhm,
Like
mhm,
intentional spiritual living, intentional divine designed living. What is possible? Because again, I play with it all the time. Oh yeah, this, that, and oh no, but I'm like, if I surrender, if I just give, if I just do it, if I just say that prayer of like, God, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to whom? Shout out Gabby
mhm.
Bernstein, even though I was beefed out with her for a little bit and she ain't know it. I think she did know it. Her team knew it because you know how my mouth be, SS. But I'm like, but Gabby Bernstein is who introduced me to that from A Course in Miracles. And I'm like, I want to live my life that way because I'm like, I see so much and I see just how like the life that I spent so much time thinking was the life to live is not it. And how like there's this mission that my soul is on. Like
Mhm,
I'm here for a soul reason. And I had this epiphany, I think it was yesterday, and I was like, you know, the one of my core limiting beliefs has been not being wanted. Not
mhm,
feeling like I belong, not feeling like, I had a reason to be here because nobody wanted me. And so like thinking about my parents and how like I never experienced like that like my mom for sure was very excited to see me when I got to see her on my weekends with her or the beginning of the summer that I was spending with her. But I always went back somewhere else. Like, and I never felt like I said, like I really was wanted. And so I think about the years and the stories and the narratives and how that story held me in so much bondage. And now I'm like, boo, Doug's wanted you.
mhm, mhm,
So who cares if your mama and your daddy wanted you? Who cares if the kids in the playground? Who cares? Like all of that. Like I mean, it matters, but like that knowing that awareness as just shifted so much for me because I'm like it dismantled every other victim filtered story I had in my head because I was like, no, for every story that is holding us in bondage, with every story that is limiting our optimal well being, there's another story over here, SS, that we can flip it to. And when we flip it there, it breaks all of that suffering and all of that why and that woe is me and that victim consciousness. It just and throw it away. So I'm like,
mhm.
man, like I want to know, I want to see, I want the experience. I know now I'm an experiential being. So I'm like, let's have this experience, not to have it in order for something after, but to just be with the unfolding of what is these next couple months, few months.
And that's the thing about it though. It's like and I think I mentioned this earlier, we want everything now, or I used to want everything now. And I think most people want everything now. They want to feel happy now. They want to have all the success now, but everything is really in layers and it starts at that foundational piece. So, in order for me to even get to a space where we talk about surrender, to get to a space where I even could see myself, I was fully broken down in surrender. Like God took, as I was releasing things, God was releasing things on his level beyond my side where I didn't think I would be able to make it, where I full to feel surrender literally and figuratively, but more so literally hands up in the air, tears flowing, that release and that connectivity. And when I was that broken, that's when I was able to see. And then, he provides tools and resources. And that's when Be Well came into my life. So I was able to get the, how do I dabble in this? What are some other, with the meditation and the prayer? And I already knew the journaling. So then you start to like build yourself up, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
building yourself up, also connecting spiritually. And then you get that base, you get more resources. So it always says it gives you right when you need, and not in your
Mm-hmm.
time, but right on time. Because I wouldn't have been able to handle human design when I first started this process. It would have overwhelmed me and took me to another space because I was still domesticated. So it's like as you build those layers, you fortify that foundation and you bring on more and more. And then when you take that component of human design in there, and then you throw in your journaling, your Reiki, your yoga, your meditation, all of those things on top of that. And then, okay, well, God, I can make a clear in a good space where I understand that I have an emotional authority and that, yes, have the emotional waves, and when I wake up and I'm feeling discombobulated, instead of calling somebody and saying, "Hey, girl, I woke up feeling this way," no, I center in myself when I go into meditation. I go into Reiki. I start centering in the divine and having that Reiki cleanse. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm out of the frustrated state. Where is my gift? You start looking at the shadows. It's all leveled.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to a space and then you go into that solitude with all of that knowledge and you've been girded, the only thing is up, but it's all in his timing once you fully surrender and you apply the tools and resources, which for us is human design. One of the
Exactly.
resources, human design, but that blueprint to truly help to navigate and dismantle. Oh, she's just moody. Oh, she's doing the most. She says she's doing this job and working this and doing that. Oh, but she appears to be doing it and thriving? Well, yes, because I have the ability to as a manifesting generator. But I also know that I can easily be boxed in and conform. So me joining different things and being a part of different things and saying, "Oh, yep, this is the book for it. Okay, let me do it because I can do it well," because that's a gift. But when you realize that those gifts are taking you away from your actual alignment and your calling, again, human design, what does it do? It gets you right back on track. So it's to sum all of that up, yes, it's a beautiful thing, but what I don't want people to think is like, oh, yep, you get your human design and then it's voila. It's a whole lot of work in the
Yeah.
midst of it. It's a
Yeah.
tool. It's a tool. It's a tool.
Exactly.
And you have to still do that deep healing and
Mm-hmm.
understand that everybody may not be there, which is that spiritual piece of grace, right? For yourself and for others. But then there's also that piece of awareness where, like, I'm at a crossroad rather, with some decisions and things in my life, because of my evolution. And it's interesting because you can have a view of what you think it will look like and what it will be,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it could be very different from that. And then
Yep.
grappling with that understanding and learning how to navigate that.
Oh
And
yeah.
again, human design allows you to see and to recognize that emotional authority. And then the Reiki helps you to clear out. The journaling helps you to write it out. Um, and the prayers, scriptures, it helps you to pray it out. So it's like it's not just "Well, I'm going to get my
Mm-hmm.
this," and now it's continuous work. You
Yes.
talk about going to getting degrees after degrees. Yes, it's a beautiful thing, but just imagine if people took the time to truly go inward. We wouldn't have time for a lot of the hate and craziness that's going on because we'd be too busy trying to create love and light within ourselves. So that when
Yes.
we show up, it's a ripple
Yes.
effect and we're really being light in a world where it's a whole lot of darkness. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that that's one of the biggest pieces is like my life has been a series of these moments where I reached that place where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do something different, to get something different. So it's like I've had it, 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 and now I'm like, wait a minute. Like, and I've heard people
Mhm,
say all the time, like, transformation does not have to always be started from a pain point. And I'm like,
mhm,
who, like, that would make no sense. And now I'm at that place where I'm like, no, this is not a because of blank. Now I'm about to do this. This is like a no, like, this is not a have to. This is I want to. I get to.
mhm,
Like, I want, like, I have visited the creeks and crevices of my internal being before, but it's always been when my back has been up against the wall and things, and I'm like, hands up, knees to the ground,
mhm,
what the f, I'm ready. I'm ready for this next level. I'm ready for this next layer. And now it's just like, hey, I'm back to visit. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
just want to see it. Like, no, like it's all good. I'm coming back. I'm it's like, yeah, it's like kind of how I feel about ODK. Like, I still go back to ODK. I don't need ODK services at this point anymore, but like I want to still go back to support
Mm-hmm.
and to love on and to just be part of. And that's how I feel about this journey. Like, I'm ready. Like, my boss is not telling me, Erica, you about to lose your whole effing mind. You got to take a sabbatical, or you got to take 2 weeks, or you got to whatever, or my husband, or I'm laid up in the hospital bed and I got to figure it out because I just had an episode. No, no, this is just me being like,
Self-regulating,
yes, that
self-managing,
part.
taking care of you,
Yes,
understanding before the breakdown, and being in
yes,
tune with all of it. Absolutely. That's the work, though.
yes,
That is the work. And then when
yes.
you say, this is, you never ever been Erica Lynn Brown at 36 on this day and time. So all of the work has brought you to this point where you can recognize before, and like
Yeah.
we said earlier, like we talked about, you planted the seeds. The pause is appropriate. It's in line, and we should all make time to pause. And like for me, I might do it and I might share, but you know how I do anyway, as far as accessibility. I'm not as accessible as I, period. I'm just not. But that's because that is the space that I need to be in right now for this journey in my life. Um, and as Jay Shetty talks about in his book, The 8 Rules of Love, it's like silence and the noise. It is. It's just removing all of the silence. And it's not selfish, and it's not out of fear. It's out
Mm-hmm.
of self-preservation, mind, body, spirit, soul. And so, but then you think about it, like all of the seeds from conversations, from text messages, emails, someone speaking up. And this just came to me when you think about relationships you have, and all relationships that are divine, are reciprocal, whether you know it, you're in the room and know it, or you're in room by way of mouth of others because of your alignment, and seeds are planted. And then it all comes full circle for you to see the birth of what comes from the work that you did
Mm-hmm.
by you being bold enough to take care of yourself. Everything is working while you don't have to work. It's that machine that they talked about in that training we did, a couple weeks ago. Um, but it's more in the, I guess I would say, like the metaphysical space, like it all
Yeah.
just flowing, God, source, universe aligning and working together for your good. Um, God ordaining the steps with you not seeing, because it's spirit sight. You don't have access to it, but it's working in your good and it's working in your favor. So as you rest, things are working, and you'll be able to see the harvest. So that's the beauty of solitude, of self-care, of the pause, of applying human design even with that. So it's definitely, this year has been, yeah, it's only been 6 months, but it's been very educational and enlightening. So,
Really, really quick, as we're wrapping up SS, can you please just talk to us a little bit about what it means to live an audacious lifestyle and what that looks like, and like in real life, what is that?
in real life, and I'll say it in short, and then I'll end with how you can find out more about that. Um, Living an audacious life for me has been showing up fully, even for myself, even when that means being away, if that means it means having uncomfortable conversations, or not having the conversations at all because it's not time for the conversations, even though it may be ready for someone else. It's holding other people accountable for how they engage with you, because we teach people how to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, part of that frustration when you talk about human design and that being one of my, that's a trigger for me to know that I need to realign so I don't go to the not self theme. Um, it's it's a living audaciously is a way to, I'm going to use the word again, self-regulate, mind, body, spirit, soul, have intentional relationships, teach people how to teach you, and reteaching people how to treat you, and knowing um, when you need to go into a hermit space, um, when you need to take time away from a relationship or relationships, when you need to, um, I mean, it's the intentionality, and when I wake up, having my prayer time, doing my Reiki before my feet hit the floor, then it's sitting down and writing out any low vibrational thoughts that might have come up, and letting go of all that. It's that intentional time to get yourself ready to go to out into the world, even if going out into the world is going into a Zoom call or engaging with a family member, a child, a spouse. Um, but really holding yourself accountable to being your best self in word and in action. And not because anybody else is watching, because you solely want to be your best version of yourself so that you can truly do God's work on earth, because we are not here for ourselves, we're here for others. So being audacious in that regard is making, and even though some might argue that, and I won't say argue, that sound like a class. Some might argue, some might think that it's, me being funny acting, or, so standoffish. But having the audacity is knowing yourself and knowing that I was acting as an extrovert when I'm really an introvert. And I was burning so much energy that there was no way that I could be healthy, which is an example of why manifestation of, weight came as a manifestation of that, unhealthy living and all of that. Um, and just it's just literally choosing you, being the first to put you first in all ways, holding yourself accountable when you say something wrong, and apologizing, no matter who it is. If you were wrong, you were wrong. Own up to it. Because if not, it manifests, it ruins, and it rots. And it's a wow, it's very intentional. To learn more about what that is, though, I am in The Audacity to Be, which is my book that will hit Amazon on the 13th. Um, it goes into some of my lived experiences, what that looked like, showing up in spaces. And it's some really intimate shares in there. It talks about being the first to put you first, like what that looks like, the different practices, from a holistic approach. Because I even think about, a couple of things I experienced as I was getting ready to, travel again. I started thinking about all of the things in life, and I call it that carnal view, and we call it that carnal view versus that spiritual view. Um, I had to, when I felt the anxiety coming, I saw the importance of centering in breath and doing the breath work and breathing, because I noticed that I would stop, not literally stop breathing, but I would hold my breath. So when
Mm-hmm.
you hold your breath and you don't have that flow, it automatically makes you feel panicky. And in the moment of feeling panicky, you start thinking about all of the
Yep.
things that are, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle that? So then that perpetuates. And so a good, but to be able to be in a space, which to me is audacious living, to be able to be in a space and say Z without saying it out loud, being wherever, but internally saying, girl, you're good. Release that. God's got you, or whoever your higher source is, whoever will watch this, connect with them, center in your breath, breathe, because and I thought about like all of the different health things that come, because I may have felt like it was really, the anxiety and all the emotional, having the emotional authority at the time, not really getting it, but how okay, now I have a headache because I wasn't bringing in enough oxygen in my body. So now I might pass out, and oh, now I might have, when really it's center,
Mm-hmm.
pause, breathe, trust. But again, audacious living, being intentional about using all of the resources that are available to you to nurture you, to care for you, and to be okay with somebody or other people thinking that it's selfish or that you are crazy for doing the things that you're doing. When you, I mean, I think about I don't know if it was in a mine or during a conversation at this at a party, a tea party I went to recently, and they're like, "So you're really full throttle doing your business? Like you're no longer at State Farm?" I was like, "No, I haven't been since." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in this thing, and I'm trusting the process." And I'm also seeing how, like, with the vision board and having the audacity to say, like, I'm gonna just trust putting business, I'm like my vision board is there, it's not, but I put to travel, more travel for leisure and business and being able to see things connect,
Mhm.
not even by my own doing, but hey, I need you here. Can you do this in business and in life, for different roles, daughter, mother, whatever. Um, and it's like, okay, well, here's your ticket. Oh, okay, well, I need you to come and work on this project. Can you? Oh, well, then while you're here, and then just everything connecting. And you think from a carnal, a carnal stance, like, the millions haven't hit the account yet, but I'm still able to do these things. So it might appear like, but it's that faith, it's that trust. And
Yep.
that has been the audacity for me to show up wholly and fully and like believing. I say I want it, I do the work and
Mhm.
being light and love and applying my human design so that I am responding in authority and I am being light and love in relationships. And when emotions are high, I know to back away. That all makes space for all of the beauty and alignment and flow for the way God's lavish, unfailing abundance shows up in life, even in ways that you didn't think it would. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the audacity. And that's the benefit of it because you get to see Him be Him while you're simply being you authentically, how He created you to be.
Exactly. Yep. Yes.
I got a little excited and warm.
Right. No, but that's the excitement of human design and living life by design, like, and being able to have all the things that you could it's not even that, like, what I have realized is like what I have is so much better than what I could have ever thought it would be. And I know that
Mhm,
sometimes it doesn't look like it, or like I'll be striving towards, and that which I desire just like is no longer even an option, and I'm like losing my mind because I'm like,
mhm,
I wanted that, that was supposed, that was it, but it's like, no, boo boo, we're just taking that out of the way to prepare for this big old beautiful grandiose whatever that is far beyond what your wildest dreams could have even imagined. But like, just
mhm,
fall back and chill. And that's one of the things I love about design too, is because it's like we hear people talking, we hear people sharing, and we're like, "Ooh, yeah!" Like we get that little nudge. I'm like, "That'd be cool. Yeah, I want that too. Yeah, that would be great. Oh, yeah, some of that too. More, please."
mhm,
But then it's like that's not even us though, and it's not even how we're designed to function, because it's like there's some people who are literally designed for quantum leaps. Like
mhm,
it's in their stuff, quantum leaps. And so you see it and you're like, "Oh, a quantum leap. Oh my goodness." But somebody like me, I'm designed to release all expectations, to just let it go. And I'm like, wait, what? Into like the baby steps. And it's like one thing after another, for the highs and the lows, the big moments, the low moments, moments of conflict and crisis. And I'm like, why? But it's like, I get to live my design, and I will never have your life or their life or anybody else's life, but I get to show up wholly and fully in the unfolding of mind. And I do still get the things, but the things that I thought I wanted weren't even for me. And the more that I understand who I am, I get to decide what I want for real, and what's even for me. And even surrendering it while knowing, like, you got me, Dougs. So wherever I
mhm.
go, it's going to be beautiful. And there will be things that I love, and there will be things that I may not, but what I get is determined based on what I choose to see.
Yeah. 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 We
Yeah.
each have our, yeah. I could go on and on about that. And that we talk a little bit about that in the book too. Just your own innateness. That the book is heavily girded in human design and life and flow with human design. And the audacity to be. And it's literally, it really is a game changer. I'll keep saying that, and I'm gonna keep living it, because I'm not gonna, keep what I don't do for my design is I'm not preachy. I'm one to show, I'll tell you through my actions. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to live it. And for so long, I was trying to be intentional about telling and before the demonstration. And again, with my profile, that if it's in the wrong space, it can come across very wrong.
Mhm.
So again, just having that knowledge of knowing when to talk and when not to. And I mean, those are like life skills. I think I shared this with you, or we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm like, human design needs to be a part of the life skills class. I
Mhm.
mean, it could be being a part of the curriculum, to instead of teaching them, because I talk about in my book how like most of my life growing up, and it was not like intentional. Again, it's a domestication process of having an example of, okay, well, be like that person. Okay, well, you see,
Yeah.
they did that. So go ahead. If you do that, then,
Mhm. Mhm.
well, I'm not them.
Right.
We don't have the same skills and abilities. So if just imagine honing in on each of your, in a life skill class, the students' profile, to teach them how to navigate. You
Yes.
talk about life. I mean, it's life skills, is communication, like learning to go inward. All of
Decision
those.
making. Yeah.
Yes, based on your profile, as opposed to telling you what everybody else is doing,
Yeah.
what everybody else can be doing it. And maybe that's why so many people, you know, God can go on a whole tangent about that. But it's it creates life and flow. Definitely creates life and flow. And I'm so grateful. So grateful. Um, And it's interesting. I was with my daughter this weekend, and I shared with her, I was like, with her, your human design. I kind of just gave her some of the information, and she was like, wow. She's like, that does sound like me. And then to be able to give examples and say, and not to say like you're this, so you should, but based on a profile like yours, blah 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 blah. Oh, that makes sense. How
Mhm.
I felt when I read mine, and I was like, who wrote this? How did they know it was me and I was experiencing this on these, you know what I mean? So, so yeah, yeah, definitely game changer. And if you haven't had your human design, please go to,
www.thelighthouseKalamazoo.com. And then
yeah.
before we wrap up, the Audacious Lifestyle is coming soon. So can you just really quick just give those last few details and where they can sign up and all of that goodness, SS?
Yes, so we revamped the book club because we initially marketed as the Wellbeing Book, the Audacity to Be, the Wellbeing Book Club, but we revamped it, and it is going to be the Audacious Lifestyle, a Wellbeing Group Experience, and it will start in May. It'll be information to sign up and register coming very soon, but the Audacious Group Lifestyle Group Experience is going to be one where we dabble. And I always said dabble, but we're going to lean heavily into self-care and well-being practices. We're going to be attuned for you all, whoever participates, I should say, will be attuned for Reiki so that they can begin practicing on their own. In short, the Audacious Lifestyle, this experience is going to provide you with tools and hands-on experiences in group formats to journal, intentional journaling. We're going to write to release. So we're going to do some manifestation writing. Again, Reiki attunement, learning how to self practice. Women in Wellness will be there for Reiki with movement, Reiki with touch, and then Reiki with visualization and meditation. And the goal of this experience is to provide women with tools to be able to navigate as they traverse. Because yes, you can go to a therapist, you can all of those things. And I'm not saying don't do those. This experience will provide additional tools on top of the other self-care practices that people have. And if people are interested in learning additional ones, just to have in their toolbox. Because what I found is that my greatest growth has been not picking up the phone to call somebody
Mm-hmm.
or to ask somebody else to pray for me or what scriptures I should go to, but to actually do it
Yeah.
myself. Because he will speak to you
Yeah.
once you have your Bible in front of you. You just start reading and start communing. Reiki to center yourself, release anything that's blocking any type of divine download. So learning the different tools and practices, so that people have just some extra resources and extra tools to take care of themselves. Yes, I can do practice. I can practice Reiki on you distance and in distant practices and in person. But for me, it's been nothing like learning how to navigate wholly in solitude by myself, loving on myself by myself, using, prayer, crying it out, me and God in a chair or on a meditation pad, wherever you see, whatever works for you, but it's been me in the dirt doing the work,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So this experience will provide us, and it won't be a situation where you come and you have to share like I did this. It's an intimate thing. It's virtual, so it'll be in the privacy of your own space, so that you can really lean in. And even after we're done, you can continue to lean into whatever is discussed for yourself, because it's a personal journey. And there's also opportunity to create a one-on-one wellness plan with me, um, as well as I will connect participants with the Lighthouse Kalamazoo to receive their human design report, so that they're able to have that and get future deeper work with my HD guru, Erika Brown. Um, and so that'll be a part of the as well as, Nairi Cornelius will be their licensed massage therapist and also Reiki practitioner. It'll be an opportunity if you need a massage to be able to connect with her. So it's a space to come to heal individually, as you're a part of an intentional space and group and community, um, as well as have access to other benefits like human design if you want to go deeper, personal massage if you want to go deeper, meditation and visualization and distant Reiki practices, and in person with me. So that is what the Audacious Lifestyle is about.
Ooh, sounds good. Well, we will make sure that we include information in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much for this, SS. So grateful for just a shared and sacred space and diving into all of the things. And remember, can you say that release date one more time?
Yes, July 13th, The Audacity to Be will be on Amazon. And stay tuned for other events, because that manifest and generator brain of mine is working. So it'll be some other things coming out, that I'm really looking forward to with this experience and this project. So yeah.
Yay. Well, you heard it here first. Easy Talks, June 2024. Until July. We'll see y'all then.
Yay.